Okay, today I'd like to finish or do part two of Emerson's story. I don't know if I'll make it through it. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try. Seems like there's a lot involved and it's still very emotional for me. Let's see. Um, I'm sitting in my daughter's room. I just figured like the lighting's better in here for me, believe it or not. There's no windows on one side of my house. Go figure. So anyway, okay, so where I left off last time was I had just it was my pregnancy. So I left off and we had just found out there was a cyst on the placenta. And that was at about 20, was it 21 weeks or 20 weeks? And they had sent us to a specialist and I had to cancel the appointment because everyone at work was on vacation. And I canceled it because they said, the cyst is not a big deal. We'll check it for you just because we know you're nervous and blah, blah, blah. So I was supposed to go on a Thursday and I canceled. And then Friday, let's see, was a normal day. And Saturday was the day that everything went wrong. So that was August 13th. I had gotten up and done normal things with my younger daughter. My older daughter was at her dad's house for the weekend. We went to the store. I saw a cradle that I liked, and I have been eyeing this cradle for a long time. And I texted a picture of it to my husband, and he said, well, did you buy it? And I said, no, I didn't. I'll get it later. There was something that always held me back from buying things. I had very few things for her. So I got home. It was about, I don't know what time it was. My husband was at a gun show with his grandpa and his dad. And I was sitting on the porch and my daughter was playing and I felt or heard a noise that sounded, this is very stupid, but it went like that coming from my body. Well, I know that noise because when I had my first daughter, my water broke at home and it sounded like that and felt like that. And it freaked me out. I stopped and I thought, what do I do? So I went to the bathroom and peed and nothing came out, but I felt a funny feeling, almost like it was sore down there. So I actually felt inside and I could feel something bulging. Oh, I panicked and I called my husband and he was on his way home, but he was still far away. And he said, well, go to the hospital if you think something happened. So I went to the emergency room and they took me right to the labor and delivery and they checked and they said it was the amniotic sac bulging. And at that point, they can't shove it back in. They can't do anything. They said my water hadn't broken, but my underwear were wet, but maybe not horribly wet, just slightly. But I knew that was what that noise was. So they had me elevated, feet up over kind of like this, feet here, head down where my elbow is, and to try to keep pressure off the cervix. And that hospital is a religious hospital, so they told me there's nothing we can do if it's going to end the pregnancy. We can't help you along. Basically, I could sit there forever in labor, and they can't do anything if it's something that could possibly end the baby's life, because the baby was fine at that point. So let me think, how did that go? It's been a while now. It's all blurry too. So then we decided to be transferred to the other hospital because first of all, they can help you along. And second of all, they are a better hospital and they have a better NICU. And they said if there was any chance, which nobody was giving us very good odds at that point. I mean, I was 22 weeks. And anyway, we decided to go. They took me by an ambulance. Meanwhile, in the ambulance, my contractions were horrendous. And I mean horrendous, just like you feel at the end of labor when you're about to give birth. They were on top of each other. They were horribly painful. I was trying my hardest to pretend like they weren't, but every bump of the ambulance was horrible. So we got there and more people looking, more people telling me things, just don't know what to do, can't, and then my water broke everywhere. So at that point, they still gave us, maybe she might, if we could, they said at one point they had told us they can't give steroids for the baby's lungs till 23 weeks, and I was 22 weeks and like 1 day or something like that. So they said if they could get me, if I could hold out, if my labor stopped till 23 weeks, they could send me home, which seemed really weird, but they know what they're doing, and bring me back at 23 weeks and start steroid injections. So we still had some hope. Baby was still fine at this point, So that was Saturday. That we had a lot of people talk to us, neonatal nurses, doctors, people asking if I'd done drugs, if I had noticed. No. And my other kids were not premature. I don't know what's going on. So, let's see. Sunday, the contractions, after my water broke, the contractions were not painful anymore, but they said I was still having them. So at some point Sunday, they took the monitor off me, and I didn't realize it, the heart monitor. And I asked them, I woke up from a nap. Brandon went home to get a shower because nothing was really going on at that point. And I asked them, I said, why did you take the monitor off? And they said, well, they told us just to monitor every hour now. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, would you mind checking? Because when I woke up, I couldn't feel, there was nothing going on. Like, she wasn't moving. And oh God. I have the camera propped on a Kleenex box. Anyway, so they checked, and I knew because they couldn't find it, and I could always find it with my heart monitor at home. So they got the doctor, and he did an ultrasound, and he was a resident, and he got another doctor, and that doctor told me, I'm sorry, it doesn't have a heartbeat. But I knew because when they pulled the ultrasound up, I could see her heart, and it wasn't flickering. So anyway, that was the single worst thing to hear. I'll never forget the way the ultrasound looked, and I'll never forget how she looked when they did that ultrasound. So after that, it became a decision for us. Do we want to, we want to induce, do we want to wait? Well, I had to think for a little, and it's all super blurry from here. So, I waited a little. We talked. My husband came back, and I had to tell him, which was horrendous. And we decided to do I don't remember what the pill's called. It goes up by your cervix, and they put some here, different one, obviously, and it starts you into labor. And 2 of my sisters were there, and they put it in, and the doctor said, I'll be back at 6 to check on you. And within a half hour, I was like, you need to get the doctor. And then she was born within, 2 pushes. Very small. She weighed 15.7 ounces. She looked perfect. She looked like my husband. And I don't remember how long she was right now. But the hospital, they were wonderful. And they gave us, a lot of stuff for her. And I'm having a hard time doing this, so I don't want to go too much farther, but I wanted to show some of the things that they gave us. And so you could see, they gave us this, and that's how small her feet were. And this is, my hand next to it. So they were tiny and perfect. And they gave us, I don't know if you'll be able to see these. It's like a stamp with her feet on it. And this one has hands and feet. So those are really nice. And they came in this little box, and someone painted that. They gave us more hand and feet prints. Let's see. Just like did the normal, like they would for a full-term baby. Comparing them to my older daughter's things is fun because they're I mean, my older daughters were, 8, 6, and 7 too, so their feet were pretty good size, or normal size at least. Box here, they gave us a memory box with a teddy bear. I think they took pictures of her with this. This was the gown she wore, and she drowned in it. It was huge on her. Here's her bonnet that they put on her. And they gave us some other stuff, and I'm going to stop right now because I think my video is getting too long and I'm having trouble, like I said, but I wanted to talk more about what happened afterwards, during, like, how I felt afterwards, because, like I said, this process has been long and horrible, and I'm actually doing fairly well now, believe it or not. But I want people to know what it's like, so I will do that some point. And oh gosh, that's not good. I am 6 DPO today, so I'll also be making a trying to conceive update pretty soon. So that's it for now.